time is 1 p.m. from Morovia. Listen, good afternoon and welcome to King's News Room. 5 minutes of news about Liberia. Let's go. I'm Stephen Quinton Anger. In the headlines, 10th Judicial Sacred Code in Bonjima indicts Lofa County University President Dr. Isaac Pollard and 10 other senior officials of the institution for investment USD 410,000 and Liberian dollars 13.3 million. Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Augustine Gafuan, rejects General Auditing Commission US 2.8 million of budget spending for 2025 fiscal year. Ventures LACC to initiate immediate forensic audit of resigned senior economic consultant say may hold Gafuan of lack of accountability and weak internal control. And also coming up in the news, the University of Liberia Student Unification Party vowed to continue protests across all UL campuses. Describe House Speaker Richard Congressing mediation as short of meeting students' concerns. Away from home, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened tougher sanctions against Russia after its heavier air bombardment on Ukraine since the war began. And as well, Israel's Supreme Court has ruled that the state is failing to provide adequate food to Palestinian prisoners and must take steps to improve their nutrition. It is these developments, the news bulletin, and the actual voices of the news makers are up at it. We are taking a very short break to be right back. Thanks for rejoining us. Next is the bulletin of news with Newton Tokpa.
The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission has confirmed the 10th Judicial Circuit Court in Bonjama, Lofa County indictment of Lofa County University President Dr. Asepoda and several other senior officials of the university. They are accused of economic sabotage, theft of property, misuse of public funds, and criminal conspiracy. The indictment was issued on Tuesday, September 2nd, and signed by resident circuit judge Nancy Samin based on evidence provided by the LSTC following a comprehensive audit into financial irregularities amounting to approximately US 410,000 and Liberian dollars 13.3 million. Those indicted include Dr. Isaac Pollard, President, Dr. Stephen Gaiman, former President, Reverend Victor Patmo, Chairman of the Board, Madam Annie Fumo, Co-Chair Anthony Quito, Administrative Assistant, Nawolo Katakui, Vice President for Administration, others I. Peter Taylor, former computer, Mamoma Kane, Aliyu Kamara, Amara Shewi, and among others. According to the document, on January 16, 2025, an audit conducted by the Comptroller and the Accountant General revealed 13 ghost names on the payroll amounting to US $12,000. The indictment said 48,335 United States dollars illegally paid unspecified number of people with no employment record. The document alleged that the university's former president, comptroller, and payroll technician at the Civil Service Agency siphoned 15,939 United States dollars from the covers. On January 14, 2025, a check of 3,350 United States dollars were released to Annie Flomote, co-chair of the board for sitting, but the said amount was not used solely for the benefit of Metapoda, President LCU, Reverend Patmo, board chair, and Madam Flomo, board co-chair. On November 18, 2024, the university disbursed 103,985,000 for fuel purchases allegedly intended for the president's travel, but there was no proof of work, official function, or duties. Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Gafon has strongly refuted a recent report by the General Auditing Commission indicating misuse of 2.8 million in above budget spending during the 2025 fiscal year. The GSC report released earlier this month claimed that an audit of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning uncovered 2.8 million in expenditures made without proper documentation or authorization under the National Budget Framework of 2025. However, in response to the report Modern State Radio, Minister Gafwan dismissed the allegations claiming that no such off-budget spending occurred in the fiscal year 2025 budget. The finance minister further challenged the LCC to initiate an immediate forensic audit to thoroughly investigate the reported allocations. He emphasized the full transparency of an audit that will clarify whether the issues stem from 2025 fiscal budget year. Minister Kafan also urged the LCC to expand the scope of its forensic investigation to include the 2025 fiscal year, stressing the need for consistency and accuracy in auditing public funds across multiple budget periods. In a related development, Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Gafwan has stated that the University of Liberia's request for US 500,000 to support its reopening qualifies as off-budget spending, a category of funding the ministry is treating with caution due to transparency concerns. The clarification follows recent remarks by Dr. Lady Mapayan, President of the University of Liberia, who appeared before the Liberian Senate Committee on Education. During her appearance before the Senate Committee on Education, Dr. Mapaya revealed that the university urgently requires 500,000 US dollars to resume full academic operations. She further told lawmakers that she had written the Minister of Finance and Development Planning requesting the funds, citing the critical need to reopen the institution and restore normal functions. However, speaking Monday on state radio, Minister Gafan acknowledged receipt of the university's communication and expressed concern over the nature of the request. Gafan stated that given the current climate and public scrutiny surrounding such expenditures, the ministry is evaluating how best to handle the situation. The minister noted that the ministry has come under increasing criticism from media institutions and civil society organizations regarding the alleged off-budget transactions, an issue that has drawn attention in recent audit and anti-corruption reports. At the same time, resigned economic consultant at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning statement, who has criticized Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Gafwan's leadership, accusing him of poor administrative oversight and allowing the ministry to operate on autopilot. In a strong statement issued regarding the 2.8 million United States dollars of budget spending, the former consultant alleged that the ministry is plagued by lack of coordination, weak internal controls, and minimal accountability. More Tameko pointed to the 2025 General Auditing Commission report, which revealed that the government through the Ministry of Finance could not account for US 2.8 million in public funds terminated as a result of Minister Gafwan Week's leadership at the ministry, and argued that the ministry's response to the audit blaming documentation issue was a weak excuse, especially given the extensive internal paper trail required for financial transactions. According to Mako, financial requests are processed through a rigorous chain from the budget minister to the deputy for budget, then to the unit heads, legal compliance reviewers, and finally to the minister of finance, noting that each person in the chain signs has to a copy of the transaction. The University of Liberia's campus-based student unification party has strongly rejected recent efforts by House Speaker Richard Cohn to restore calm at the institution, vowing to continue protests over what they described as long-standing grievances. Speaker Cohn recently met with the university's authorities and representatives of SUP in an attempt to mediate ongoing tension between students and the administration. However, speaking to journalists on Monday at the university's campus, SUP leaders condemned what they called poor state of the facilities across the university campuses, reiterated corruption allegations against the university's leadership. They described the decision by the university to resume normal academic administrative operation as an affront and disservice to the student body, arguing that it ignores the critical issues they have raised. The student group further criticized UL President Dr. Lady Mafaya, describing for over 7 months leadership at the university as a complete failure. They also accused Dr. Mapaya's leadership of prioritizing corruption over student welfare and infrastructure development. SUP at the same time maintained that it calls for the immediate that dismissal of Dr. Mapayan and threatened that failure to do so that will result in continual protest and other unspecified action. The Marriage Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Union of Nigeria through its National Executive Committee had declared a vote of no confidence in its president John Kerr. MFMTUF National Executive Committee also announced a major leadership changes following the removal of its president. During a press conference Monday, the group vice president for operations, Tino said it was important to inform the general public, especially motorcyclists, tricyclists, and partner organizations across Liberia about the recent developments. The Merged Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Union of Liberia National Executive Committee noted that the leadership change is aimed at strengthening the organization's operation and restoring confidence among its members. We had explained that the executive committee has moved to restructure the federation leadership to ensure stability and accountability. As part of the process, where Malba has been confirmed and inducted as interim president general of the federation. What has been described as a strategic international engagement on behalf of Liberia's legal community, the president of the Liberian National Bar Association, Councillor Bono Vama, is expected to undertake a multi-week official mission to the United States. The trip, expected to last between 3 weeks to 1 month, would involve visits to several states and institutions as part of efforts to build partnership and mobilize support for the legal sector in the country. According to Councillor Vama, the primary objectives of the visit include fostering exchange programs of Liberian lawyers and law students, identifying opportunities for capacity building initiatives, and seeking logistical support to bolster the Bar Association programs and infrastructure. Councillor Obama maintained that the trip is fully supported by the LMB East Constitution mandate, which provides for collaboration with international bars. It also emphasized that the National Executive Council of the bars has been briefed and approved the trip. It also made a statement recently in an interview with Prince FM. President Joseph Boakai has reaffirmed Liberia's unwavering respect for the One China policy, describing it as a cornerstone for the nation's foreign policy. Remarking over the weekend at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex in Congo Town, where Liberia joined the People's Republic of China in celebrating the 76th anniversary of its founding and the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Chinese People's war of resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War, President Joseph Boakai congratulated President Xi Jinping and the people of China on the occasion marking the 80th anniversary of their victory against Japan. Boakai described the anniversary a holistic milestone that reflects the resilience, determination, and achievements of the Chinese people. He noted that Liberia and China have enjoyed a long-standing friendship since 1977, producing tangible benefits in health, education, infrastructure, and other vital sectors, and stressed that the administration remains committed to foreign policy built on peace, mutual respect, and multilateral cooperation. President Boakai emphasized that the partnership, whether with China or other international allies, must serve the common goal in fostering a more peaceful, secure, and prosperous world. For his part, China Ambassador to Liberia, Yan Shiguan, re-echoed the significance of the commemoration, highlighting China's transformation over the past 76 years and the sacrifices made during World War II. Liberian National Police have given an update on the investigation on the alleged murder of a black rider identified as Roden Tatu in Ganta, Nimba County. Last week, motorcyclists were engaged in widespread protests following a discovery of the lifeless body of one of their colleagues, resulting into the police shooting tear gas in order to bring the situation under control. The protests were held in demand of justice into the killing of Roland Datu, assumed the body of the motorcyclist. Buried 1 day after the protest in Ganta, two motorcyclists were arrested by community watch team while attempting to sell motorbike. Speaking in an interview with police report, the commander of the police detachment in Ganta Lima County, Assistant Commissioner of Police Marvin Pami, disclosed that the document of the motorcycle on which Roland Datu was riding does not correspond with the back in the police custody. Former Minister of Justice Councillor Musa Din has challenged graduates of high schools to make their existence on earth worthwhile in order to impact society positively. Councillor Din said every human being has a destiny, and at the end of the existence, everyone will have to take the essence of the person's service to humanity and the community will be used by next generations. He made a statement when he delivered keynote speech marking the 19th commencement convocation of the Mother Stewart Apostolic Pentecostal Mission School in Broadview outside Monrovia during the weekend. The Center for National Documents and Records Agency Wiki Foundation on Monday joined the world at large to commemorate International Literacy Day in Monrovia. Speaking at the event, Assistant Minister for Basic and Secondary Education, Abat Kangat, underscored the link between literacy, dignity, and opportunity. According to Kangat, when literacy is low, parents are not able to support their children's education, farmers can read instructions, and businesses suffer due to lack of skilled workers. He stressed the importance of involving literacy education to meet the demands of the digital. Here, Terminus Liberia has reaffirmed its commitment to youth empowerment by sponsoring the 2025 YNCA Annual Children Vacation Sports Program. The program held over the weekend marks the fourth consecutive year for the company in partnering with YMCA Liberia to support over 400 children from Montserrat County with sports, digital literacy, and skill training. The month-long program, which ended over the weekend in Monrovia, saw children receive training in basketball, computer literate, arts, and cultural activities, with several participants awarded for their outstanding performances. At the closing ceremony, the head of operation at ATM Terminals, Eaton Christopher St. Jean re-emphasized the company's broader purpose to impact children in education, especially in sports, digital literacy, and skill training. Also speaking at the program, YNCA Liberia Montserrat County Coordinator Martin Allen expressed appreciation for the partnership. He highlighted how the program has grown in skill and impacting children in various skills. The YMCA Montserrat County Coordinator lauded APM Terminal Liberia for the support. Also, in remarks, one participant identify as even associate or a segment, noting that the program has made a difference in their lives. And prison authority has confirmed that some of the defendants in the arson case at Criminal Code A have rejected seeking medical examination at the GFK hospital in Singo despite Judge Roosevelt Willis' order for them. Judge Willis' September 4th, 2025 order, according to our judicial correspondent, was triggered by defense lawyer Councilor Arthur Johnson's submission to the court that his clients were tortured and sodomized by state securities while that's with the intent to light on former House Speaker Donative Ofa and others. Defense lawyer Councilor Arthur Johnson claims was among several issues raised before the court to suppress government lawyers' pieces of evidence on grounds that it was obtained illegally. Judge Woody said that the issue of torture and sodomy were grave and as such the defendants needed medical checkups as a means of establishing the truthfulness of the defense lawyer's account before making any decision on his motion to suppress evidence. The former House Speaker is among 14 other defendants who were indicted by the Special Grand Jury of Montserrat County in connection to the burning of the Capitol building on December 18, 2024. They were indicted for multiple offenses ranging from criminal facilitation, criminal conspiracy, attempt to commit murder, arson, criminal mischief, and among others.
Newton. So back there with the news bulletin is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one world. One of our top developments, University of Liberia Student Unification Party, BOW, continuing protest across all UL campuses. Describe how Speaker Rachel Cohn's recent mediation as short of meeting students' concerns. We are taking a very short break to be right back. Welcome back. Let's now take our first development. Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustin Gafuan has strongly refuted recent report by the General Auditing Commission indicting misuse has indicated misuse of 2.8 million in of budget spending during the 2025 fiscal year. The AC report released earlier this month claimed that an audit of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning uncovered 2.8 million in expenditure made without proper documentation or authorization under the National Budget Framework for 2025. However, in response to the report mounted on state radio, Minister Gafuan dismissed the allegation, claiming that no such off-budget spending occurred during the fiscal year 2025 budget.
Auditors don't come to say you are stealing. They come and find system weaknesses that you need to work on. But in this environment of vulnerability, where people project negativity on people, when they see audit report, they conclude that that is the reason why we are asking for more literacy on these matters. So that's what the auditor said. And so what these institutions are around. Some of the payment was done to county health teams, River G, or school system. They are all listed. They are all listed. So how come somebody comes and says, I'm going to want 2.8 million? Are you a thief wanting your thief rate to be projected on me? You want to confess thief rate? Confess. If all the reports, when they come out, journalists want to sell. In fact, some journalists came up 78 million, the 4 million, the 4 million, total dollars, 78 million. We will organize these things for people to understand. The other thing they said, maybe you haven't raised, I think they used a harsher word. They said lack of. They didn't say problem with adequate documentation. Lack of documentation. That's what they said. And then, if you ascribe thievery to 2.8, and you say, by extension of the logic, that the people that headed, they stole 4.27 billion in 2023, and some of them were moving around, 2.8. Do you know what it was 2023? 96 million. I repeat, in 2023. They said 2.8. We have 2.8 here. It tells you the system improvement that has happened. So these audit reports are out there. The NCC, take the audit report because audit reports don't necessarily imply fraud. Now they will take a forensic eye and say, okay, let's investigate. Because for fraud, the definition of fraud is intent and action. Someone who have done this to steal from government, or it could just be error, misstatement, documentation. It is the responsibility of asking the NCC to investigate, whether it is this year or last year's stuff or 2.8 in the previous year of 96, I'm asking the NCC. This is a clarion call from the Minister of Finance, but they are challenged, but they are in power. The GNC does surface stuff. NCC, please investigate this for this one. Please investigate this. I beg the NCC to. So 2024, 2023, NCC investigate. Yeah, okay. This thing will be put to.
The Finance Minister at the same time revealed that the University of Liberia's request for US 500,000 to support its reopening qualifies as off-budget spending, a category of funding the ministry is threatening with caution due to transparency concerns.
Extra money to any government entity is something that you guys in the press love to call off budget. I see your front page, off budget. And they make it to look like a surprise. This university crisis is going to highlight something because we'll transition into the GAC report, right? Any extra money that was not budgeted that you were asking for, is off budget. So those that don't understand off budget, this university request is off budget. Yes, it's off budget. It's beyond their budget. So it is not, they're not asking for their budget. No, they don't have to exhaust their budget because most of the budget goes to salaries and other things. University, let me say this. The government subsidy is not the only source of funding to the university. University collect fees and other things, So they determine what to do with it. So the government's budget, the government funding to the university is a subset of the university budget. And we're going to be getting into many other things. But I just want to say, so this request is off budget. And interestingly, the legislature is on break. This request, given legislative approval. Off budget without legislative approval. I made headlines, off budget, that one store. Okay. And now we're talking university. You all want me and somebody who has been giving people a spoonful of negativity, calling me names. Last year, off budget was yelling, off budget, off budget, off budget. Then this year he's talking, that's one guy university. He's a heartless man. Also, you want now today that I should do the off budget thing. You want me to do the off budget, right? Now you understand off budget. If you don't understand this thing here, if you don't understand, do not call good characters. Someone will say, I gave money to the university without legislative approval. That's a crime. Wait, just give me a chance.
Also responding to the finance minister's claims, among other things, resigned senior economic consultant at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, say May Eko, has criticized Finance Minister Augustin Gafuan's leadership, accusing him of poor administrative oversight and allowing the ministry to operate on what he termed an autopilot.
Minister Gafuan have shown to be very incompetent in running the affairs of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. He's not a very good administrator at all. The ministry is just on autopilot, basically. All the ministers that are appointed, assistant, deputies, they're all doing their own thing, and there's no coordination from the Minister of Finance. Let's take, for example, simple thing in regards to administration or administrative issues. Gafuan himself said that, let's take the GSC report. That's the current one, GSC report that was done in 2025. GSC said that Gafuan and its ministers could not account for $2.8 million US dollars. And the Ministry of Finance came up with a rebuttal saying that they have some ARCA issue and that's why they could not account because the document lost in the ARCA. But that's not true. The document is there and they have reason why they are holding that document. The Ministry of Finance has great system in storage documentations. The Ministry of Finance to write a check of $5 to leave Ministry of Finance. It goes through at least 29 different persons. 29 different offices and units. If you say that the ARCA issue, the ARCA for Ministry of Finance is way behind the mansion there by the ocean there. So every person that signs a document, Ministry of Finance keeps a copy of the signed document. When the document comes, all the documents are attended to the Minister of Finance and sent downstairs to the Budget Minister. From the Budget Minister, it goes to a City Minister of Budget, then it goes to the various units. The director of that particular unit does a memo to the minister saying that they have reviewed the document and they have met all the PFN laws, the procurement laws, the budget laws. So they advise that we go ahead and do allotment. He signs that document, he takes a copy, and then store himself and goes to the next chain. And it goes through probably, as I said, about 29 different persons. So there are 39 copies of each document that is kept as record in each of the units that touch that document. This is 2024 audit. I can still find documents that I signed in 2014 in my office. Gafuan they got a document, but they don't want to put the document outside because one of the issues at Ministry of Finance is the off-budget spending. Off-budget spending are budgets or the money that's spent that's in the national budget, and that's one of the places where corruption is very entrenched because accountability is easier. Gafuan spoke about it and said, like in most cases, they do off-budget.
Say May Cole is the former senior economic consultant at the Ministry of Finance there speaking. Earlier, you listened to Finance Minister Augustin Gafuan. Well, we have an hour past the news presentation now. This is a reminder you are listening to the Tuesday, September 9, 2025 edition of King's News Room. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and elsewhere. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more developments. Thanks for joining us. Now at the University of Liberia. The University of Liberia's campus-based Student Unification Party has strongly rejected recent effort by House Speaker Richard Cohn to restore kind at the institution, vowing to continue protest over what they describe as long-standing grievances. Recently, Speaker Kund met with the university's authorities and representatives of SUP in an attempt to mediate ongoing tension between the students and the university's administration. However, speaking to journalists Monday at the university's Capitol Hill campus, SUP leaders condemned what they called poor state of facility across UL campuses and restated corruption allegation against the university's leadership.
My plan is a disappointment, and my plan has failed to run a university. It's clear that in 3 days, we cannot see concrete things, especially our demands being answered decisively. Party will ensure that my plan leaves the University of Labrador, and there will be unspecified resolution. Prior to even having meeting with legislature in an attempt to have dialogue, we have had meetings. In 7 months, my plan has been president of the University of Labrador. The party has initiated tons of conversation on the issue of basic necessity of the students. Why is my plan not addressing it? Why is my plan not addressing the issue of buses? We ran a whole semester last semester without a single bus on the fender, and the party is clear. These are basic things that the university must achieve. You cannot be making 15,000 employing your critics. You are increasing the salary of a secretary to 437%, but you cannot provide the basic needs of the students. We see that as a disappointment, and we all are disappointed in the leadership of Mapaya. People thought that Mapaya coming to the University of Labrador, especially someone with different civilization, should effect a disaster policy at the University of Labrador, upholding the rights of the people, especially the right to due process. Mapaya has engaged in witch hunting people, illegally dismissing people. She has refused to provide report that inform a decision to dismiss people. She has refused to address the basic situation on the campus. Our meeting with her, it was just a meeting to go and re-echo our position. And if she commit to it, or the government can commit to that, like we said, beginning Thursday, if we cannot see concrete action, especially ensuring that buses are finished, ensuring that the iron trap issue can be addressed, ensuring that this semester that is coming be a second semester, full second semester, so that the vacation school can be a vacation school, ensuring that she can make available report that inform our decision to dismiss people, ensuring that she can get rid of so-called employees, so-called people she has employed to the University of Labrador. There will be a specified action. The party will ensure that my parent leaves the university.
A student of SUP there speaking. In what is being described as a strategic international engagement on behalf of Liberia's legal community, the president of the Liberia National Bar Association, Councillor Bono Vaman, is expected to undertake a multi-week official mission to the United States. The trip, which is expected to last between 3 weeks to a month, will involve visit to several states and institutions as part of effort to build partnership and mobilize support for the legal sector of Liberia. According to Councillor Vaman, the primary objective of the visit include fostering a change program for Liberian lawyers and law students, identifying opportunities for capacity building initiatives, and seeking logistical support to bolster the Bar Association's program and infrastructure.
These institutions have invited me as national president of the Liberia National Bar Association to visit the U.S. to engage them on interventions in the interest of the Liberian lawyers, the entire legal community of the Republic of Liberia. So I will be departing the country, and I'm going to be away for between 3 weeks to 1 month. It's going to be hectic for me because I'm going to be traveling from states to states just to remain engaged with these relevant institutions and individuals in the interest of the Liberian National Bar Association. We are concerned about exchange programs for Liberian lawyers. We are concerned about exchange program for the Louis Arthur School of Law between the Louis Arthur School of Law and some of the universities in the U.S. We also are concerned about capacity building initiatives for Liberian lawyers. We are concerned about logistical support. You may be aware that we are about to complete the ground floor of our ambitious headquarters project. And so I'm going out there to look for opportunity to see how we can furnish that building. It's going to be hectic, but very, 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 very productive because This is something that we have since envisaged, and we think it's good that we're making this trip to the US to make sure that the interests of members of the legal community of this country can be protected. So we are grateful to those institutions that have accorded us this invitation, which is going to provide us an opportunity to remain engaged with them during our stay in the US. And so we have provided briefing to the National Executive
LNBA President Councillor Bonovama there speaking. And up to the next development, President Joseph Boakai has reaffirmed Liberia's unwavering respect for the one-China policy, describing it as a cornerstone of the nation's foreign policy. Remarking over the weekend at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex in Congo Town, where Liberia joined the People's Republic of China in celebrating the 76th anniversary of its founding and the 80th anniversary of the victory in Chinese People's War of resistance against Japanese aggression and the war anti-fascist world. President Boakai congratulated President Xi Jinping and the people of China on the occasion marking the 80th anniversary of that country.
The People's Republic of China was embedded in this historic milestone that reflects the resilience and determination and achievement of the China in the Chinese war, the Japanese aggression, and the war anti-fascist war. This commemoration reminds us of the immense sacrifices made to uphold freedom and peace, and the collective responsibility of nations, large and small, to save their these guardians for all humanity. Liberia and China have enjoyed a long-standing friendship since the establishment of diplomatic relations on February 17, 1977. Over the years, our partnership has brought tangible benefit to our people through collaboration to build infrastructure, health, education, and many other vital services. This September, we reiterated our relations to strategic partnership, demonstrating our shared commitment to deeper cooperation for mutual prosperity. As we strengthen these bonds, Liberia reaffirms its respect for the One China policy, while also remaining fully committed to advancing the foreign policy rooted in peace, mutual respect, and multilateral.
For his part, China's ambassador to Liberia, Jen Chugon, re-echoed the significance of commemoration, highlighting China's transformation over the past 76 years and the sacrifices made during World War II.
Exports increased by 7.2%, and the total value of imports and exports of goods exceeded 21 trillion RMB. New quality protective forces were advancing vigorously. Risks in key areas were effectively prevented and diffused. Consumer price and employment were generally stable, and the thriving was further strengthened. Communist Party of China is education campaign to implement its central leadership's 8-point decision on improving work conduct, fostering a more sound political ecosystem, featuring honesty and integrity in China. Next month, the CPC will convene the 4th plenary session of its 20th Central Committee to deliberate on the proposals for formulating the 15th five-year plan. On its foreign relations, China highly holds the banner meeting with a shared future for humanity, and advanced major country diplomacy with Chinese characteristics in depth, injecting stability and certainty into a turbulent world. China firmly stood on principles, withstood foreign pressures, and safeguarded its own interests as well as international fairness.
China's ambassador to Liberia there speaking earlier. You listened to President Joseph Boakai. And now, ahead of the news presentation, is our foreign development. But this development sets the pace. The Liberia National Police has given an update on the investigation on the alleged murder of Black Rider identified as Roland Dotu in Ganta Nima County. Last week, motorcyclists were engaged in a wildcat protest following the discovery of the lively body of one of their colleagues, resulting into the police shooting tear gas in order to bring the situation under control. Meanwhile, speaking in an interview with the police report, the commander of the police detachment in Gantanima County, Assistant Commissioner of Police Melin Palmin, disclosed that the document of the motorcycle on which Roland Dotu was riding does not correspond with the bike in the police custody.
Yeah, so with respect to the protest, the city was buried by the city mayor, the family, and then we have commenced the investigation into the alleged suspects that were arrested with a motorbike in section number 8. So the investigation commenced, and the suspect, Denison Dan, 19 years of age, a resident of Santa SPR community, along with Amos P. Boyo, 21 years of age. They both of them reside in Santa SPR community. We started speaking with them, and then they admitted to the police that this motorbike they had was not a motorbike that they were allegedly murdered on. The motorbike was given to them by a friend to go to Bunadin to speak to their mother. And so when they got to Bunadin, they appeared for the motorbike, and then criminality entered their brain and they started selling the motorbike. But prior to this incident, a gentleman named Adin Kwiti filed a complaint with the police that his motorbike was stolen around Justina in downtown. So he brought his document, we compared it with the motorbike that was arrested with those suspects, and it was established that it is the motorbike that belongs to Adin Kwiti. Contrary to rumors that there was a motorbike that Roland Dotu was murdered on, was the motorbike that was born with them. So that was not the case. But the question is, if this man motorbike was stolen days before this incident and the motorbike was found in your possession, then meaning that they have some other link of criminality, so they are not fit of the whole. But to start the investigation of the late Roland Dotu to them is a bit difficult. Investigation still continues.
Melin Palmin there speaking. And now away from home, Donald Trump has threatened tougher sanctions against Russia after its heavier air bombardment on Ukraine since the war began. Sunday's strike killed 4 people, including a mother and her baby, and damaged Ukraine's main government building. The attack, which Ukraine said involved at least 810 drones and 13 missiles, has led to growing calls for stronger Western action against the president. Kremlin's spokesman Jadrit Pekos said Monday that no sanction will ever be able to force Russia to change the consistent position that the president has repeatedly spoken about. And that's all from our foreign scene. And this is how we go on today's edition of the news program. But before we take leave of you, here are top stories we follow. The 10th Judicial Circuit Court in Vonjiman indicts Lofa County University President Dr. Aze Podat and 10 other senior officials of the institution for embezzling USD 410,000 and Liberian dollars 13.3 million. Minister of Finance and Development Planning Augustine Gafuan rejects General Auditing Commission US 2.8 million of budget spending for 2025 fiscal year. Challenges LACC to initiate immediate forensic audit, but resign senior economic consultant Say May Ko accuses Gafuan of lack of accountability and weak internal control. As you may have heard in the news, University of Liberia Student Unification Party vow continuing protest across all UL campuses. Describe how Speaker Rachel Cohn recent mediation as short of meeting students' concern. Away from whom Donald Trump had threatened tougher sanctions against Russia after its heaviest air bombardment on Ukraine since the war began. I'd like to say many thanks to our news writers, editors, for making today's news presentation a success. Newton Topa was here with the news bulletin. Marvin Val, Sada Control, and ably coordinated the sound. I'm Stephen Compton. Thanks for watching and listening.